What is up, everybody? We are back. It's your host, Drew, from the Drew Experience, the voice of Canadian politics and conservatism and Iran advocacy and Canadian geopolitics with discipline in martial arts if you do Kyokushin karate. So make sure to hit that like, share, subscribe button to my channel. It takes 2 seconds. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of summer and whatnot. And if you feel generous, I do have a buy me a coffee link. It does help to fund production costs for independent media in Canada, as well as covering what's going on with the diaspora in Iran for Canada and elsewhere and whatnot. But today's guest, less about me, it's more important. I think this is the biggest interview of 2026, of the first quarter, because you never know what happens, but it's a massive one. A lot of people have been telling me you have to get, if you're for Iran advocacy, you have to try to get on advocates against what's going on right now with the latest revolution. And I'm very, very privileged to be joined by one of the biggest voices ever. She stands at 5'10". She's a true fighter. So you have to hype you up there, Mandana. But she's a true lioness. She's very well spoken. She's beautiful inside and out when you're around her. And she's like that midfielder in football, as they call it, or ice hockey, that makes those around them better. I'm privileged. I'm honored to be joined by actress, model, but most important, an advocate for Iranians and a free Iran, and Mandana Karimi. Welcome to the show, Mandana.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was quite an intro. Thank you so much. It's my honor. And thank you so much for inviting me and to care to be the Iranians' voice. Thank you.
Well, listen, it's not about us. It's about our people, both within the diaspora, but most important, within the largest prison, which is our country, Iran, right now. Because, a lot of people, it's very unfortunate, Mandana, because it's just so sad that the left have basically hijacked our history. Then they try to give a whitewashed version of what Iran is. They feel like Iran started after 1979, after the Islamic coup. I don't call it a revolution. It was a coup. Our country was taken over, because now you're seeing footage of what Iran looked like from, say, 1925 to 1978, basically. And then everyone's like, hey. So I have to ask, when someone comes up to you and they ask, like, oh, you're Iranian, and they're new to this, what is the best way? How do you try to educate them in a way that they can understand? Because Iran is not for beginners. It's for advanced players in this game.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I say, Iran is Persia first. That's first. Second, Iranians are not the Iranian regime. Iranians are not Muslim. We don't speak Arabic. We speak Farsi. We weren't Islamic Republic. We have 1,000 years of history of kings and queens and Zoroastrians. And, we belong to that region in Middle East for 1,000 years. That's first thing first. And the second thing that people ask, because of your country, there is a war in the world right now. Because of your country, the price of gas has gone up because of your country. Then I say, Iranian people, they have tolerated, they have fought with this regime for 47 years. And the world is just seeing a glimpse of what this regime is about. And in past 2 months, they have proven to the world that they are bullies. They control people with fear, execution, harassment, internet blackouts, fabricating the reality to a narrative, and trying to bully everyone, even the region, in past 2 months, right? So that's what I want to tell people, that they need to separate Iranian regime from Iranian people, because they're two different things.
Very true. Very well spoken. And I think, with today's tools and technology, we can definitely dumb it down. Obviously, when it comes to Iran, the one problem that we see is when you start, because, in back of me, like, it's my chair right now, but there's like a picture of, like, let me move aside. You see, like, our transition area.
That's amazing. And guess what I'm wearing? I don't know if you can read Farsi.
I can't.
That means the Shah is coming
He will
back.
return.
Yeah, will return. Yeah.
Amazing. Perfect. See, we came prepared today. So
there you
listen,
go.
I don't know. I don't really speak Farsi, but I can tell you a few words I know. Some of them are very bad. I mean, I know obviously Dorud, I know Chatori. My favorite word is I'm gonna get killed by all my friends on in the Iranian X spaces.
uh,
I need to just say it because it's fun to get your reaction. My
uh,
favorite Farsi word lately when I hear it, when leftists or like when ignorant people try to Iran-splain to Iranians, I like to
uh.
always ask, Arab of today?
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah. Yeah, oh my God, that's such a fun word because I think a week ago I told someone and this is like Indian friend who's trying to
Mhm.
explain my own country, and I listened and I listened and I said, you're Arab uftade. And then he's like, what do you mean I'm Arab uftade? I said, you pretend to know more about my country, and I'm sitting here, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you telling me my history. And what is the difference between you and IRGC? Because IRGC has tried to wipe out our history for so many years. So there's no difference between you and IRGC. So I'm done with this conversation. You are very عقب افتاده.
Yeah, you have to just end it because you're not gonna
No.
if you're getting your talking points from the regime, the reformists, NIAC, PAYA,
Yeah.
ICC, our version of NIAC up in Canada, I
Mm.
don't want to hear it. It's like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
waste my time because you've been captured, unfortunately,
Yeah.
by this narrative.
Yeah.
When it comes
Mm.
to Iran too, yeah, so I want to get to this. So the biggest mistake a lot of people make, they like to think, well, the Shah was a Western puppet. Mossadegh was a democratically elected prime minister. And it's like everyone buys this narrative. How do you try to explain to people to destroy that narrative? Because it's not true. Mossadegh was not
Exactly.
elected. He was chosen because of the I'm paraphrasing. He was chosen because of the parliamentary system and the constitution, but
Mm.
he was a very corrupt leader. Like this guy is not some like, old, well-to-do, mild-mannered, innocent-looking grandfather like figure. He was a very corrupt figure. So I'm going to let you explain that because I don't want to get my facts wrong and you've actually lived in Iran. So,
Yeah. See, I want to take you back to when the revolution happened or
mhm,
when the Islamic Republic occupied Iran. The first week of the occupation, then they announced that people have voted for them. But there is actual and a study and a number of a gentleman who at that time was working with the regime, with the new regime in Iran. The population in Iran was between 26 to 27 million. And
mhm,
I'm talking about kids, people in a hospital, everybody, right? In the whole country.
mhm,
The voting that they announced, they said 30 million people have voted for Islamic Republic.
mhm,
This is when they just came in power, right?
mhm,
It just shows this regime, this government has fabricated and lied again and again and again. Even until last year, there is no voting system. There
mhm.
is no right. What do you call it? There is no right for people to go and vote. Okay,
Right.
so they announce what they want to people believe. And then, as you correctly said, in Canada, in UK, in Europe, this regime has had their systems, right? The security system, the support system of the regime, that they push that narrative that people love us in Iran. They want us to control the country. They want to be Muslim. They want to
Mhm,
so and so. So that's what's happening with the regime. And when we go back to now and Reza Shah Pahlavi, what has changed? It wasn't like since he left when he was a teenager almost, when he left with his family from Iran, he
mhm,
did not stop fighting for Iranians. He did not. He's been working on a program. He's been working and trying to explain it to everyone. This is what my people need. This is what we need, right? The only difference is people like me, women, the diaspora, the Iranians in diaspora, suddenly we have connected all of us together. So, and everybody, all of us, what are we talking about? We're talking about democracy, secular governor, women's right, freedom of speech, accountability, most importantly, and the separation of a religion to the state. That's it. And that's what Reza Shah Pahlavi has worked on a plan. There is a full written program that this is how we're going to achieve it by changing the regime, right? But then what the noise comes, they suddenly try to create these
Hmm.
cults and groups that they say, oh no, but he's a puppet of America. Oh no, but he went to Israel. Oh no, but he does this. Oh no, he does that. And that's him getting attacked. And people like me, we get attacked by the fact, oh, you're just an actress. What do you know about politics? Then they say, oh, you went to Israel, or you love America. Why are you supporting America? Why you do this? Why? So that's what's happening right now. But what people they need to understand, Iran's situation and Iranians' life right now is not a political debate. It is a very, very strong, valid humanity and human stories. Because the people in Iran, let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago, all the movement that has happened 2019, 2017, 2022, they were trying it was more of a symbolic change that they wanted,
Hmm.
right? Example, women, they disagreed with the compulsory hijab, right?
Hmm.
Everything was symbolic. They wanted to some sort of a change, but the narrative has changed now. We want the regime to be gone. Reza Shah Pahlavi is a bridge. He's going to help us to go back to our land, to take the control of that 5 points that I mentioned. And it's very simple. But then the lefties and the Nayak and all these people, they create it to something else. They make it to an American agenda. They make it to an Israeli and da da da. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
I wanted to ask you because you just spoke about some of the
Yeah.
movements, and you said we've already had a history. So, and I'm going to give you my timeline of what I know as someone who does have a
Yeah.
degree in history.
Yeah.
After the Iran-Iraq War, there was a quiet uprising because of the mass executions in '88, right before
Yeah.
Khomeini, not Khomeini,
Khomeini, guys.
Khomeini. Let's get that
They're
right.
two different
Died.
people.
Yeah, they're very different. They're very different. So there was my God, the one story that I heard. I mean, I'm sure you've been in X Spaces. I mean, or you've
Yeah.
heard of what X Spaces are. So I'm gonna paraphrase Goldie Gamari's story. So
Yeah.
she's another advocate like you in Canada,
Yeah.
very, very, very fierce.
I really like what she portrayed. I mean, she's so 100% point on to certain things that
Mhm.
she says. Yeah.
There was one story she gave like during the mass executions where like a relative of hers was in line just to be executed because at the time after the Iran-Iraq war they were looking for traitors, and someone in the Artesh or then the Sepa, like who didn't even want to be there, like he was just trying to get a living, recognized her uncle and hid him into a broom closet while they were just executing people. And it was like, and then like when he left, like he had so much like, Goldie, I'm really sorry, by the way, if I butcher the story, but you said the story in a space. I'm just making this clear right now. I'm paraphrasing so she doesn't get mad. And he would always like stare at the stars as if it was some form of, I guess, emotional scar for what he had to go through. And
Yeah.
there was that uprising too for against the mass executions, because they're like, why are you executing war heroes against that fought against Iraq? Then there was one in 1991, apparently. When I was born, there was one in 1993, apparently, but it always got clamped down. The biggest ones were 1999, where Gobaf, and I'm not saying his name right, I call him Gobaf because he is full of shit, pardon my French,
Yeah.
literally is on record saying, I took joy in watching students jump off off the roof to hide from us, and I took joy in not having to use ammunition, instead use a stick to beat them to death, basically, because that's
Mhm.
what these people are. So just by the way, FYI, people, if you think Mohammed Gabor Golubov is a Gorbachev figure, please check yourself. First thing. So that's 1999. Now I know I'm a bit of a tangent here, but 2009, the Green Movement. This is when we're kind of age. You and I were still young.
Yeah.
We all thought that was the biggest one at the time, but because you were in Iran probably, and we all thought Mir Hussein Mousavi was the figure. What was your thoughts to 2009? I've always wanted to ask about the Green Movement because it's so mixed what people say. I want to get your perspective on that movement.
See, everything you just explained, it's all history.
Hmm.
Okay. And when people ask me about this regime and about the mass executions, I talk about my personal experience. I
Hmm.
probably were like 8 years old. My dad was taking me to school, and from my house to my school, there was a square. So there was like, let's say, 10 minutes walk. And this is in the morning. We are crossing the square, and there's a lot of people, and there's a gentleman, there's a man hanging. Okay. This is my this is as a child, I don't understand what is execution. You don't know, right?
Hmm.
And I see a man hanging from this machine in the middle of a square, and everyone is throwing coins, right? And I asked my dad turns my face the other side, and he says, "Let's go from the other side." And I was like, "What is doing? Why is hanging from there?" And my dad says, "No, no, no, he's done something really bad, so he's been punished." And it has taken me years to understand that. What I'm trying to say, all the incident that you spoke about, right? It's a history. Iranian regime, the Green Movement, the even this year January, for them, the people worth nothing because they run as per as the ideology. If you don't support that ideology, you become a threat to them. You're a traitor of their Islam. You get a execution maybe because as simple as going to the street for a protest, right? And in the Green Movement, what happened? People they did not know that that's going to happen. They went to the street and they actually, they were just asking for their basic rights. And the next thing you know, not only they were killed on the streets, there was mass executions. That was 2009. And then now, let's talk about now. Even in when the regime they carry on this narrative around the world that, oh, we've been attacked by America, we are attacking our neighbors because we were first attacked, and so and so, right? But yet they're executing their own people. They're going to people's houses. They're arresting girls as young as like 16, 17, and they execute them. What was their crime? They came to the street on January 8th and 9th to ask for their right. And there
That
is another study, I don't remember the exact number. The number of execution that has happened in Iran is way beyond than any of wars that has happened in past like 40 years. And not only the execution, I met someone few days ago, and she was there in Tehran. She ran away the next day of on the 9th of January. She ran away, and she explained something to me. Because of the lot of stories and people who were in Tehran, especially in Tehran. You know what I realized? What a few of our friends that we've been working really closely with a lot of Iranians. The regime knew that Reza Shah Pahlavi has called people to the street, and people are planning and gathering, and they allow people to believe that, okay, we're going to allow you to go to the street. Everybody has started gathering from 6:30 p.m. in Tehran, Mashhad, Tabriz, all the cities. Okay, so they gather by the, let's say, 9:30, 10 p.m. Okay, there is millions people are shouting and chanting Reza Shah Pahlavi, we want the king back, and so and so. Exactly, in all the cities from the 10 p.m. there were shotguns from the roof, from the cars, from everywhere. So what exactly they did, they allow people to gather in one street, on one area, and let them believe that you have taken a control of the police stations and mosque and so and so, and they killed everyone.
the
Then
other thing too,
people
yeah, the other.
and then people tell me, "Oh, how is it possible to kill 450,000 plus people in 2 days?" And they didn't stop to the streets. The people who managed to go to hospitals to get treated, they killed those people too. The nurses, the doctors who treated these people, they've been executing. The nurses have been raped, gang rape in hospitals.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because I have I'm gonna out of like there are some friends I have that that are within, and
Yeah.
the stories I've heard, it's like I remember, I wanted to break down, just hearing, and it's like, and it's like you hear, they're the methods they're doing, they're taking one of them. It's so hard to admit, without tearing up, they basically said that the IRGC went in to the hospital, they're thugs,
Mhm.
and they were interrogating nurses and took them downstairs to gang rape them and do the method what's called Coke bottle, where they use
Yeah.
the most, and it's like where's the outrage? And it's like you
Yeah.
post this on like Instagram, and then the first thing someone says that's ignorant, oh, is this Gaza? Is this like Israel? It's like, look at the where it says in the video. It says a location. Do you have eyes? You have two
Yeah.
eyes, right? Can you read? Can you read
No.
it? This is what it says, and you're silent because as the saying goes, no Jews, no news. And
Yeah.
it's just like, how does it make you feel when it's like the West, and especially the left, and the left feminists are silent to Iranian women's suffering?
See, always, it's been many years. I work with women empowerment, not only with
Mhm.
Iranians, but even in India. I work with underprivileged kids and, all the other work that I've done. And since January until now, I've lost friends, I've lost job, I've lost colleagues, I've been hacked 4 times. I had a debate online with this Indian mullah sitting in Qom and telling about my country. And I had a debate with him. And after that debate, I got a phone call and messages from Iran saying, "This is your Iranian ID. We know who you are. Watch your back." And then they took whatever belonged to me in Iran. I didn't have much, but they have taken all of that. What and then here I am in another country outside of Iran, and people come to me and say, "Oh, but Iranian regime is not that bad." And I'm like, "What do you mean not that bad? What is that supposed to mean? Not that bad as in just because it doesn't fit the narrative of we hate Jews, we hate Israel, America is bad. It doesn't fit that narrative, and bullying bullying other people. And then there is these videos coming out of Iran saying that Iran is such a beautiful country and women, they have freedom because it's a narrative. But yet a woman like me, even outside of Iran, I'm not safe from this regime. And to be honest, it's disheartening. I've had days I didn't know anymore where is my source of power or hope. And then I actually have a lot of messages from people from Iran that they send me on Instagram, email, and there are a lot of people I work with them right now. They're either stuck on the borders, some of them are in Turkey, got stuck, they don't have money, and the students internationally, some of them are in Europe, some of them are in Armenia and Turkey. We are helping them to raise fund and just help them. And I'm like, how these many people, even outside of Iran, they're not safe from this regime, and you don't see that? Why do you think a person like me, my account has to be hacked 4 times? Why? I'm not even living in Iran, right? Why do I need to be called to the embassy again and again to be integrated by the regime in Iran embassy in India and ask question like, "Oh, you don't even live in Iran anymore. Why are you talking about Iran?" What does that say? This regime wants people to shut up and keep quiet because that's what they do. They control the narrative with creating so much of fear. And I keep telling people, you talk about Syria, you talk about Lebanon and free Palestine and so and so. Think about it for a second. Who has been funding Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, all the terrorist organization? Who? Do you
IRGC.
think Afghans people they have money? Do you think Pakistan has resources to fund Hamas and Houthis and so and so? No, they don't. And why Iranian regime is legitimate, has embassies around the world? Why is that? What does that say?
That
Why the
says some,
world is
yeah.
not Yeah. And people, they don't want to answer those questions because they come from a privilege. They're sitting in America or even Canada, right? And the government has created an ecosystem and a society for them that you can go to the street and do what do you call it, as we call it, tazahurat or a gathering, and no one does anything to you. But in Iran, you get killed for it, or you get executed, or you get harassed, or you have to run away from your country. Even by running away from Iran, you're not safe because you're Iranian and you were born there and you have the passport. And that's the reality of regime.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm not sure how, I mean, because you're very intelligent in terms of like how, like what you've learned through your advocacy. It kind of reminds me of the Soviet Union when Russia was
Yeah.
communist, when they would send the KGB. But this is like a
Yeah.
KGB on steroids.
Yeah.
What's going on, what the IRGC does, because you said the study says it's more than 40,000, it's up to like maybe hundreds of thousands. We don't
It
know.
is. Uh,
This is like the Cambodian genocide, where the
it
Khmer
is.
Rouge just killed like mass amounts of people. Like, and the IRGC is like the Khmer Rouge on steroids and cocaine. And it's like, and by the way, for those who want to know about the Khmer Rouge, please watch The Killing Fields. It's a movie that will break you and you will
Yeah.
cry. And once Iran is free and we do documentaries on the IRGC, I guarantee you it's gonna break so many people. You're gonna have to be in therapy for days. Like, I mean, I know
Yeah.
I won't be able to watch it. Like, there's some things
Yeah.
like I hear out of like I mean, listen, I don't want to compare it because we get different things, but there's some days like you probably just want to like break down or like speak to a
Yeah.
psychologist and say like what is going on, like how do we make sense of this suffering.
Yeah. But to be honest, what happened in January 8th and 9th, it broke something within all of us as
Hmm.
Iranians. Myself, I was talking about Iran. I was doing a lot of work with Iranians before, but since January, I have left my life. I don't have a
Same.
life anymore. Like my job, it has become Iran, 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 talking about Iran. What can we do next? And it's because even as an Iranian, the stories that we hear, I actually helped to break a story. I'm sure you heard about it. The mass graves that they did in Iran. Did you hear about that?
No, can you
No?
enlighten me a bit on it actually, because there's so much that comes on Mandana.
Yeah.
It's like there's news every moment and you're like it's like I can't keep up, like
Yeah.
so do enlighten.
So the mass grave, it came out and they said the regime or what they doing, everyone who was killed and a lot of women's body are not to be found, right? So that was like a news. Everyone was asking where are the women, where the bodies of women. I spoke to a family member. This family member, he works. Actually, I didn't speak with him. I spoke with his sister because he has gone into the shock that he's not able to really like talk. He's just shocked. And she said they were called that night and he works in a city center and they drive the trucks for the city. They were called to do a night shift, and when they go to sit in a truck, there is a police next to them with the gun on their head, saying that, "Give me your phone. You have to remove all your clothes," and they took away everything. And anyway, so this guy is sitting with a t-shirt on, like a ganji, and then like his short, and they're driving between what do you call it, Tehran. When you're exiting Tehran, where there is a toll, they were driving towards there. And they say that don't go to this way, go on the right side of the road or whatever. So they take the right side, and actually we have found the location. Um, go that side, and then when they reach there, they had to empty whatever was in truck, and they thought it's probably, I don't know, garbage or whatever. And they had to they had to come out of the car, and he saw what they were emptying. It was bodies of people, naked with no clothes. It was just body, no body bags, no body bags. And he, as she explained it in a way that some of them, they didn't have, like, the head was half, or like the arm was, and that's what this regime has done. And by knowing those stories, when I lose hope, when I can't carry on anymore, I'm like, how am I gonna keep quiet about this?
Yeah, another
How?
thing too I heard is I don't know how true this is, but apparently they were taking prisoners to like meat factories where stray dogs are that are hungry, and they're like, I don't know how true this is, but it was like a
I
phone
don't know about
converse.
that
That
story,
one.
but I wouldn't be surprised if this regime, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would
They're
not be
gonna
surprised.
they do executions on a level that's you would only see in like a video game or say like a movie. Then and it's like they make it reality. It's like
Yeah,
and it's like it's just something new after the other. That's just
yeah,
crazy. And then they're they're arresting children, accusing them of being Mossad, CIA, like children. I mean, I remember the first announced victims was a 3-year-old Melina Asadi. That was my moment on January 8th and 9th, where I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you're not going to cry for a 3-year-old's death. That's it. I'm going to be loud now. And if it makes you uncomfortable, good, because I want you to be uncomfortable. Because for all the silence, for all the outrage you had for Gaza, for all the outrage you have for like when you say Trump is a dictator, whether you like him or not, whether you
Yeah.
like him or not. But then when it comes to Iranians, it's as if I hate to say it, Mandana, but I feel like we're the poop under someone's boot. That's how I feel
Yeah.
the world looks at us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
They
gonna
do.
keep saying that until like people acknowledge it.
They do, and I'll tell you, a few days ago, last week actually, I launched a website
Hmm.
because past few months I've been just borrowing money from friends or asking friends to kind of help. I have lawyer friends who are helping us with Iranians who are stuck outside of Iran or on the borders, and I decided to create the platform where we can actually gather donation for Iranians. And a few days ago I went to meet a friend, and because they said, "Oh, you launch your website, come please, we want to know more about it, and to help Iranians to donate money." So I go there and they ask, "Oh, okay, so what is this website?" I said, "Yeah, it's a company, a very old friend of mine, Iranian family, who they live in Canada, and I've known them for many years, and we have created this platform because my Instagram, by the way, I've been flagged so many times, it's completely red status. I
Oh
can't do
my God.
anything on my Insta." and and it's been, I've been getting hacked and blocked for so many times. And on my Instagram, I can't even go live anymore. And so on this platform, we can go live, and, we are gathering money for Iranians. And these are the cases that I'm working. You can see how much money we need whatsoever. This guy goes and says, you're such a great person, but Mandana, to be honest, you are nothing but a waste of time because you're supporting America. And I said, "How I'm supporting America?" And he's like, "No, but the company that you're talking about, they're based in America, and we hate Americans. And because of your country and because of your people, my business has stopped. And look at the world. Iran is going to become another Iraq, and so and so." And it's so sad and it's so heartbreaking. It kind of make me so disheartened by the world that we are living today. But then it just shows one very important fact, that people like me, people like you, people who are, it could be about any country or any humans around the world, but we cannot, we should not keep quiet. And people think that maybe you have a small platform, maybe my voice doesn't matters, but from one voice it amplifies to two, and two becomes 10, and it becomes 20, and it goes up, and it's happening. Because if you look at it, even the little that we are getting from the world right now, we did not have this last year. We did not have this like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. People are, it's not a massive number. It's not the mainstream media, but there are a lot of people start talking about Iran as well. And I would like to focus on that part of it instead of wasting my time on lefties and people who they just want to hate America, they want to hate Israel, and they want to be a supporter of IRGC.
Amazing. I'm the same way too. Like my content before, like I interviewed you. Well, I'm
Yeah.
interviewing you now, but my
Yeah.
content before this was, I'm not sure how much of sports you follow.
Yeah.
So in
I do.
Iran, so I do Kyokushin karate and it's
Yeah.
huge in Iran. Like I remember when so I go to Japan every year, by the way. If you ever, by the way, I just want to say, if you ever go,
Mm,
because I know you travel a lot for your
I
acting
do.
and modeling, go to Japan. If you need to reset, I encourage it. Go there once in your
I
life.
lived
I
in
encourage.
Japan for a month. I love
Oh,
that
nice. Which
country.
part?
Yeah. 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 Tokyo.
Okay, so I love to like I do so my main content is for Kyokushin. I'm the media guy. I'm like the Joe Rogan
Yeah.
in a way for covering it. And Iran has such a rich combat sports history.
Yeah.
So I was like doing that. But then when January 8th and 9th happened, like you said, something just clicked. And I was slowly transitioning into Canadian politics
Yeah.
because I felt martial arts and politics are sort of alike. One's physical,
Yeah.
one's mental. But I just felt like I have to be a voice for Iranians because
Yeah.
how can I look at my late father's grave proudly and I could hear I could hear, like, I don't want to sound crazy, but there's been times where like I've had dreams where he says, "What did you do? What did you do to be the voice of our people?" Even though
Yeah.
like he had his trauma with being Iranian. So for me, it's like the biggest honor that like I have to do this. It's something that I'll die for. I don't care. Like it's like I could lose friends, I will lose, but if I lose friends, they weren't my friends to begin with because
Yeah, I
end of
know.
the day, it's like this is what it means, voices amplify, and it
Yeah.
really struck a chord what you said there. Like, look, you abandoned everything else. I mean,
Yeah.
I care about this. Like, I run spaces on X. You're the first Iranian interview. Well, I did one with before, but then some health issues happened, so I had to kind of.
Yeah.
But they're gonna come back on after recording. I'll tell you the story. But no, point being is, yeah, go to Japan. But also with Kyokushin, it's like there's so many athletes. Like, could you imagine when Iran is free, when that Mullah Wall, know the Berlin Wall? I call it the Mullah Wall.
Well, oh,
The
that's a
Mullah,
nice way of putting it. I like that.
you could use it, but you better
Mullah
credit
Wall.
me for it. That's the one
Of
thing I
course.
ask. The Mullah Wall breaks, you're going to see so much human capital come out of Iran, like in terms of athletes, engineers, doctors. It's like, and especially like in a free Iran, what I want to do once Iran is free, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Hey, I will give it my resume to the transition government
Mm.
of Crown Prince of the King Reza and whatever, and say, hey, I want to be a media guy for the athletes in Iran. That's for English.
Yeah.
That can help bridge between the English world and Iran.
Yeah.
Also help develop the ice hockey league because I'm from Canada. So, ice hockey's
Yeah.
our sport. We have a football team, but we're not that good. Well, we're okay, but hockey's our sport. But yeah, no, that's the being. And there's so much talent in Iran. Like,
Yeah, of course.
what do you feel about that? Like once Iran is free, the talents that will come out of there.
Well, see, the reason, even by so much of sanctions and the difficulties that
Hmm.
Iranians they have, our resistance have been shown in many different ways.
Hmm.
A lot of kids in Iran, they just want to be so good to get out of Iran,
Hmm.
to make sure that, they have some sort of a future or they can achieve something. And I want the world actually to see Iran as a place that when these mullahs they are out of Iran, you're gonna see Middle East in a what do you call it, in an avatar like never before.
Hmm.
Because imagine, I'm sure you know of it, how many doctors and surgeons and artists and sports people that we've seen are Iranians, and they're not doing anything on like a basic level. They are on like a top A+. And imagine if this regime is not there, what's going to happen to the Iranian society, because that's who we are. We have fight for our dignity and freedom for so many years, and hopefully the freedom is going to be soon, and people going to see the different Iran.
Very
I can't wait for that day. It makes me very emotional to talk about it, but yeah, I can't wait for that day.
same. I'm moving to Mahmoudiyeh. I don't care how expensive. We'll move to my dad's hometown. Can you tell me a bit about Mahmoudiyeh? Because like a lot of people were like, "Oh, your dad's from Mahmoudiyeh." Like, I'd be like,
You
what's
mean
that?"
Mahmoudi in Tehran?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever gone to that area, and I think they've changed the name. It's not Mahmoudi anymore, if I'm not mistaken.
They have to
They've
change
changed the
everything.
name.
They have to change
Yeah.
everything. Those monsters. They have to change. Like,
Yeah.
why can't we just keep it as is? But I know it's by the mountains. From what I
Yeah.
understand, it's like a town in Tehran by the mountains. Perfect. I want to live by the mountains. I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that.
No, no, it's I think if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be like a near Tajrish.
Okay.
But they've changed the name to something else. It's probably because it's the near the Khomeini's like a house
Mausoleum.
or a station that he
Hmm.
had. So that area they changed a lot of names from. But anyway, when Iran is gonna be free, all the old names of the streets and everything else is gonna come back. It's just a
Amazing.
matter of time.
All right. So I got to ask about the opposition
Yeah.
groups. There's a lot of confusion. We're seeing what we're part of, like the Nufti group, and those of the transitionary, the Shah in exile, the Shah's son in exile. There's MEK. Then there's like this freedom movement, like with
Yeah.
Canbi's Gharfouri, amongst others. I'm not gonna talk. I don't want to like sound bad in any way, but I do want to cut through the noise of who they are and which ones are legitimate based on
Yeah.
actual facts, not ad hominem. So I want to
Yeah.
ask you to tell people about who they are, because there does seem to be a lot of confusion right now. Some even
Yeah.
people think NIAC is like an alternative. So I think it's time you educate people a bit. I'm going to let you do this. I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything. Go through all the list if as best you can, Mandana, so people
Yeah.
have a cheat sheet, basically.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually read from something that I've written about this. See, the Iranian opposition is extreme diverse. And that diversity is both a strength and a challenge.
Mhm.
There are monarchies who support Reza Pahlavi. There are secular Democrats, and there are human rights activists, labor organizer, feminists, and student movements. And there's a civil society groups, okay? But there are also opposition groups, which what you just named them, which are more Iranians. They don't trust them. Because when we go back to the history of 2022, the Mahsa Amini movement, now we are realizing there were a group of people in Iran, they make themselves to a political arrest by the regime, and somehow they got released, and then they came to US and Canada and UK, and they said, oh, we are anti-regime. But in a reality of thing, they wanted to have a new version of regime in Iran. Okay. So that's Nayak and everyone else that you're talking about, which Iranians, we do not trust them. The truth behind who's the real and who's not. There is Reza Shah Pahlavi, and there are a lot of groups under Reza Shah Pahlavi, which example, someone like me, it comes into the activists. I'm doing my activist, what do you call it, activity for helping Iranians, right? And then we have people who are, let's say, from your IT teams, from political parties who have lived outside of Iran for many years, and they're not part of any group or any cult. The groups that you mentioned as the Iranians, example, someone like Gulshifte Farahani, someone like, what is that girl? Masih Ali Nejad, right?
Yeah, I
These
wanted to ask you
people,
about that one.
yeah, these people now with everything that has happened past few months, we've realized they were actually working with the regime. Yes, they were saying that, oh, we don't like the regime, oh, we want the freedom of speech and we want the women to not wear the hijab, blah blah blah. But in a reality, the money that they have made, the money that they had, or everything that they had, it was funded by IRGC at the end of the day. And
Mhm.
one of the reason now a lot of people say, or even actually Mr. Trump also stated that there is a regime change in Iran. What he means by that, it's not a regime change. Certain people, they weren't happy with the way that this regime was functioning. Okay. Now they have this new system and they're saying that, and I'm sure you have seen the videos, they're showing women on the street without the hijab, the pink guns, the rallies that these women they do, and the freedom that they're trying to show. But Iranians, real Iranians, people who are under internet blackout, they don't want this regime. They don't want a different version of this regime. And people like Naya, people like Golshifte Farahani, Masih al-Najad, those people are trying to fabricate, they're trying to make this new version of regime and tell people, okay, how about this? And let's go back to our country. But that's not going to happen.
Very true.
And
Yep. And people fall for Massa Linajad because if you look at her past, look at who her husband has worked with. It's out there. It's fact. Like,
it's
why
fact.
are you? Isn't it funny how like when the Shah talks about the victims, and then like Massa talks about the victims, but she's like whitewashes that they're just against the regime. They did not say, without them saying like Javed Shah. I guarantee you the people said Javed Shah, Payand Iran. They
Yeah.
wrote in their blood. Like
Yeah.
Farnoosh Hamid.
On the walls.
One of your friends, I think your friend, fellow model, by the way, you better
Mhm.
follow both of these people. Like
Yeah.
follow
Yeah.
Mandana and follow Farnoosh Hamidian, by the way, who said, she goes, I have it on authority. They wrote on the walls, long live the
Mhm.
king. So I trust you and her more than I trust Massa and anyone else.
And by the way, so the realistic path forward to building a transition, what do you call it, democratic change in Iran, right? People like us,
Hmm.
we are very focused. It's very simple because even Reza Shah, this is what he says again and again. We say free elections, reform, independent jurisdically, protection of minorities, protection of women's rights, peaceful transition of power. This is what we say, and it's very clear. But
Hmm.
people like others, the other groups, they try to change the narrative and they try to talk about, oh no, Iranian women are so free. We don't have any problem when it comes to freedom of speech or women's freedom. While women are still getting executed by labeled as a Mossad agent.
Hmm. That makes
So
sense.
so
And
that's it. So that's the difference between us and them. Because we
we're
are
not
very
doing ad
clear what we need.
hominems.
Yeah.
We're focused on the bigger picture. Okay, so I have to ask
Yeah.
this because one of my friends and a co-host in my X Spaces, who I do a lot with. By the way, we love to have you in our spaces. By the way, if you have
Mm,
time, we love and
sure.
just you could come talk and educate. We'll make sure it's like not only secure, but not. We'll make
Mm,
sure that it's well run and no one tries to like interrupt or. So we'd love
sure.
to have you if you're willing to
Sure.
come on ever. It's on X. So, but my
Yeah.
friend Mitra, by the way, she wanted to ask you how
Yeah.
you are able to help people on the ground with getting the funds and how is it getting to them, because if you have a way, Mandana, there
Yeah.
are many who would want to help you in this
Yeah.
cause.
So I have taken a risk of my own life, and because of the work that I've done in past, I do not trust NGOs and I do not trust certain organizations because
Hmm.
we have found out some of these organizations. I'm actually starting my live from Monday on the platform. The platform name is Cherry Fun. You
Hmm.
can find a link on my Instagram. What we did was what we thought about it, because for past 3 months I have found channels that I can send money to Iran, and that was a little bit difficult also because of the country that I have moved now. But the funds that we are focusing at right now, the funds going to Iran, we are helping on a basic level of food, hospital bills, families which they literally, because they've lost their job, they lost their family, they've lost a lot, so they can't even sustain for a daily. So what we are sending to Iran is not a massive donation because we have to control it somehow because it's not safe, especially personally for me. But the donation that we are creating right now and collecting from everyone is going to students in European countries where we actually know them. They either contacted me or few friends that we are working together. I don't know if you know about the situation that happened in Milan. There was a student, he killed himself because of his suicide, because of the pressure, because his family is in back in Iran, because he wasn't getting
Yes.
the pocket money or whatsoever. So students like him, there are thousands of them. And there are certain families, like there is a woman that her daughter has been killed by IRGC and she's stuck in Iraq. And we are actually helping her. Like right now, the process that we got her a lawyer. Her work is happening and so on so. But then the moment that her visa is gonna come, we need we need funds for her ticket, it, what do you call it? Transitioning her from Iraq to Europe, the house that she's gonna stay. So all of that we need funds. Unfortunately, sending money to Iran is not that like thousands, but what we're doing is like even like example $200. Okay, with $200 right now, I'm taking care of 6 families. It might not seem anything to me and you or anyone who's watching this chat. But in Iran, $200 right now, I can actually buy rice and bread and eggs for someone. And we are doing that. But what I'm doing is a very small donation to Iran because we cannot take care of, let's say, I don't know, a 10,000 or whatsoever because of the transaction problems that we have. But I do have safe sources that we are sending money to Iran. And yeah, I mean the cases are endless. Like I'm working with this artist now. He's in Iran His work was via, Instagram, and he paints and he sells his work on his Instagram. So now we have the entire file, and the lives that I'm going to start from Monday, I'm actually presenting his work, and I'm like, okay guys, please, if anyone can buy it, these are the links, this is, go and donate. And so the really nice thing about the website is that you actually can see how much donation has gathered, and later on, when the fundraising, which is 30 days, is going to end, obviously I cannot put the show the names because of the security reason of the people. But what we're doing, we're collecting documents. If I'm spending, let's say, 200, 100, 1000, or whatever it is, that's getting documented and it's going to be released online. And this is the reason I'm doing this, because I've been doing it since January, especially since January. But I lost my job. I don't have job. I'm not making money. I can't make money from Instagram anymore. I don't have anything anymore. I have spent from my own saving. I have borrowed money from people, and I have few friends who they've helped me to raise money for Iranians in need.
Hmm.
But then the reason I came with this platform is because they have put so much pressure on me to lose my job, hack my website, my own company's website, hack my Instagram, and so on, so on, so that I'm not going to be able to help people anymore. But then for me, I said, okay, my fight has to become smarter, and my fight has to become in a different way of how I'm going to fight this regime, right? Yes, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of Iranians who I know them. They're doing a phenomenal job by exposing the regime, exposing people who work with the regime, making videos about what's happening, trying to amplify the voices and everything else. But what can I do with the situation that I'm in? And one of the biggest challenge, I don't know why, and it's such an honor, but a lot of people have trusted me on my Instagram by sending me documents about this family needs money, this person is stuck here, can you help this person, can you help that person? And as usual, I listen to the messages of Iranians that I'm getting, right? Because I feel like they've trusted me so much with what they're going through, even sharing information about themselves and their address and things like that. And obviously, it's exhausting. There is a lot of work behind it. It's not something that, oh, someone just messaged me and we send them money, or someone just like, it's not like that. We have to actually ask people who we have on the ground and go and check if this person is actually real or not. And yeah, so that's how we trying to help people.
That's amazing. And what's your thoughts on, so obviously, that's amazing. So you gave a great, another one that we want to ask about is, I forgot to ask it. I want to take it
Uh,
back to what I said about the opposition groups,
yeah.
MEK. Why are they very dangerous, and what do people need to know about them as they're trying to do this rebrand and the history? But I would like to, if you could give them in a layman's terms, because
Yeah.
they have a very complex history. But I know an Iranian like yourself can give 3 points, and it's like, oh, I was supporting the wrong group. So
Okay.
there's a danger with them. I want to know, why
Yeah.
should people stay away from them, and why are they trying to rebrand themselves?
So let me explain it in a very layman language and very simple. Okay.
Hmm.
The Iranian regime, it's not gonna fall overnight. I tell you why. For many years, they have got people who are doctors, engineers, highly educated, they're professors, they are part of a society, and they plant them around the world. Okay. Example, as many people know, but I want to repeat myself, few RGC members, their daughters or their sons are living in America, okay, and they are actually teaching in university, okay. What does that say to us? They're trying to plant the seed of, yes, in future, because the Gen Z in Iran are so detached from the revolution that has happened. They don't care about religion anymore. They want freedom. They want a connection internationally. They want to travel. They want to have a free life, right? To be free. These people from IRGC are people, Nayak team, who are in a different countries. Okay, they look like me and you. They speak like you and me, right? But when you go into the details of their speeches, they actually talk about the fact that we have to wipe down the entire West. West should be wiped out. And the same family members who are living in America or whatsoever, whatever country, their parents or their family members in Iran, they're saying death to America. But the same language, they come to America and they teach in schools. And then you hear about a shotgun or attack, terrorist attack, so and so, in so many places around the world. And why do you think that happens? And the person is actually white. The white person wearing IRGC flag and proudly throwing a bomb, or in New York few weeks ago what had happened, right? This is what Nayak is in a layman language. This is what's happening in your country, in Canada, in America, in Europe. And a lot of these people are trained by people like Nayak because they look like us. They look like, an Iranian who's like me, who has lived outside of Iran, who has traveled, well traveled, and they're part of the society. Where their money comes, no one knows. But Iranians like me, we know where the money comes. And it's coming up again and again. There is so many files. Example, there is this new case that we are working. I want to just give you a glimpse of it. These people, with so much of sanction, what they've done, the money laundering that they were doing is via dentists and dental mechanics and machines and things like that. And they've actually laundered so much of money for so many years from Europe and America to Iran and have circulated for so many years. Who has done it? People like Nayak Group. That's what they do, and that's what they are about.
There's Nyack, but there's MEK as well with Miriam Rajavi, and they're like
Mariam
buying up the.
Rajavi, it's like, I
That's the
mean,
one. I want to get your opinion on that one because we have this problem where the MEK now it's under like the N. They're doing this like new rebrand NCRI, and it's like they're
yeah,
buying off these like Republican politicians or like some in Canada too. Like, and
yeah.
it's like, hey, it's like, do you understand that this is like a cult that you're going with? What are the
Yeah.
dangers of the MEK? And why should people not trust them, and why they are not the opposition at all? Because they have this feeling they are, but they're not.
See, the world is started questioning it because of people like you, people like me, and a lot of other Iranians who are exposing these people, right?
Mhm.
A month ago, there was a woman in US who was arrested for years of smuggling what you call weapons
Mhm.
and doing money laundering.
It was a judge. I think it was a judge, right?
There you go. Why people don't question that? There is an account, I forgot his name. He exposed an daycare in America. The daycare wasn't a daycare. It was like a warehouse. And who was behind it? An Iranian individual. Where his money comes from? Where? Where the money comes from?
We don't know, but it could
We
be
don't
from the
know.
IRGC. And then you have the MEK that's they're not allowed in America, but you have Miriam Rajavi in Albania. They have their camps that are a cult still. They're still doing their cultic activities, which is taking children from their families, very controlled. We had
Yeah.
those two former children of MEK that spoke with Queen Yasmin and also
Yeah.
King Reza about their time and who MEK is. And when I hear people like start saying like, oh, well, this is at Miriam Rajavi's good. Like I was at a convention, okay? So just so you're aware,
Yeah.
hopefully I've done a good job here. Like you're gonna tell
Yeah.
you'll be the judge. So I went to Calgary, okay? So I don't know if you've ever been to Canada. Like I live in
No.
Quebec.
Canada, no,
So
I haven't.
there's a big Iranian diaspora in Ontario
Yeah.
and British Columbia and Alberta,
Yeah.
because Alberta is like the oil province. They need engineers. So I went to the Conservative Party convention. That's our version of the Republicans, okay? Like
Yeah.
just, conservative. So, and some of the politicians, one of them said, oh, I have Miriam's number on speed dial. She is amazing. I just spoke with her last week. That Shaw, he's a bad hombre and no one should trust him. And I'm just like, and I'm holding my tongue because it's like, you are with the wrong side, buddy. You are you are betting the wrong horse here. And that's the problem. I don't know
Yeah.
how MEK is able to get to these politicians, both current, like in power, and former, and they're spewing this narrative that the MEK is the actual opposition.
No, it's not. But also see their similarity of them and the regime is not allowing actually the real Iranian voice to come up. There was I think it was last week or a few days ago. There's a girl who, she has lost her eye, and then you see her in, I think she was in Germany, and she was
Mhm.
attacked by a few people. Where do these people come from? Because if these rallies, right, so-called the rallies of what do you call it, Islamic Republic in around the world, if you look at the videos very closely, 85% of people in those gatherings are not Iranians.
No.
They're not Iranians. They're not. They've been paid to stay there, hold the flag, and to pretend that this is what the Iranian people wants. And while the regime, even until now, after almost 79 days, they sit on the blackout. Because if the internet opens up, they know the 90 million people, they say Javid Shah Payande Iran, period. That's it. There is no other name. And then you have BBC, you have CNN, they go to Iran and they say everybody wants and loves the regime. Then you have my own mother calls from Iran and says every single day, every single person that we meet, we all are just talking about Shah. We're talking about when he's going to come back and how we're going to take our country back. So these
Very true.
people are cult. They cult because if you look at their behavior, right? If you look at the Farah Khan that we call them, called by Reza Shah Pahlavi, are very peaceful. They're very respectful. We are holding American flag. We're holding Israel. We're holding whatever country that those gatherings are happening. People are very respectful. But then you look at the IRGC gathering, they're all very, very aggressive, and there is always some sort of assault happening. In UK, few Iranians who were outside of the Iranian embassy, they got attacked. They got attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are, as far as what they say, the Reza Pahlavi and whoever is supporting them are only Mossad agents. There is many Mossad agents. If Israel is so powerful, why everyone hates Israel? So then what is the argument? I don't understand,
I'm Mossad, you're Mossad, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
Savak, you're Savak. Like, oh my God.
exactly. It's
It's,
exhausting, you know? And it's interesting because the moment you start having a conversation and showing them the facts, they say, "Oh yeah, you just don't talk. You're a Mossad agent." I'm like, "How? How all of us are Mossad agent?" And by
yeah,
the way, 99% of these messages that we all receive, it's all bot. It's all fake.
yeah.
A few days ago, interesting, few days ago, I find out the team who were handling my website, they said your website has been hacked by a very big hacker. If you want us to, take it back or whatever, we have to like spend this kind of a money. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we don't know, but we know the area is coming somewhere from Iran.
They have some of the best hackers. It's like,
And guess what? On my Instagram for past like few months, I don't know if you know where is Sanjan. Sanjan
is
in
it,
Iran. It's like west south
yeah,
almost, or like
okay.
west south almost. So on my Instagram, one of the city which is highly engaged with my content is Sanjan.
That's crazy.
Do you know why?
Why?
Which I didn't know. I was talking to a few other influencer friends and people who are really active. Apparently, that's one of the station of the IRGC that they have their, what do you call it? Hackers,
Cyber
systems
army.
that cyber army. Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't
That's
only my account. A lot of other Iranians who their account, they have problems is from there. Apparently, it's like, I mean, I was mind blown.
It doesn't surprise me for you, but also, do you remember a guy on Instagram named Rosworld Ravin? Like, he was like the guy in the Netherlands. He was like a big account that was always talking shit about part of my French, was talking crap about the IRGC, and like he put up, he's like, you see this guy up here, this is like Massa Alinejad. This is why she is not to be trusted. That guy, he was like a Dutch Iranian. Great account, by the way. I hope he comes back because he also got me involved with the advocacy, and he was supposed to like, but then his like account got hacked. It got shut down because he kept criticizing Nyack. What does that tell
Yeah.
you? They don't. That's the thing. So, man, I
Yeah.
cannot wait when this is all said and done, and I can't wait to see Trita Parsi, Jamel Abdi, Negar Montezevi. Yes, I'm naming them. Name them and shame them.
Name them and shame them for sure.
All get investigated and arrested, hopefully, because honestly, or I wouldn't say arrested, but investigated and brought to justice. And if they're and like they need to be deported because like why is it that when you talk bad about Nyack, you get attacked all of a sudden? It's the same thing with the ICC in Canada, our version of
Yeah.
Nyack. Like one of my friends named Warren Kinsella. By the way, I'm not sure if you're a reader. You should read the book The Hidden Hand about
Yeah.
like the information war of anti-Semitism and
Uh-huh.
how the IRGC has like their cyber arm. Well, you're a witness to it. I could connect both of you after
Yeah.
recording because he would love. I'm
Sure.
sure he'd love to talk to you. But like Warren was attacked, but was like attacked not physically, but he was basically like hit with like a lawsuit from the ICC saying you're spreading misinformation and this that. And the funny thing is, it's like you're going up against a guy that knows law. So
Yeah.
they're at the same time they're bold, but they're very asinine because they don't know who they're messing with, and then they back away because they know they're gonna lose.
Yeah. I mean, my cases, I mean, even in India, before I left, I had police protection. I had police protection, and my situation, it became worse after I criticized the Indian mullah who was sitting in Qom. And this guy is sitting in Iran and he's a influencer, he posts videos from Tehran and Qom or, many places in Iran. And even like example, Instagram has blocked me for exactly 396 days. I cannot go live on Instagram.
Why? Why? Like this is so stupid.
I mean,
Well, if you ever need to
because,
use if you need my platform, I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm glad to always give you a platform on my side. Okay, you
thank
have
you.
me.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I'm trying my best, but we know it as Iranians, we not only fighting the regime within Iran, but also we fighting all these groups who are attacking us. It's either with like a lawsuit or social media or trying to, somehow destroy our work, our businesses that because see, we are not getting money from anywhere. They
No,
know, but they do. Because example, one of the interesting that I found about my Instagram as well, someone has actually paid. So the reason Instagram has put such a high number on my lives, which is
hmm
apparently it's not the case, is because the person that they paid has put so many reports. It's like a, what do you call it? Like
mass reporting it.
automation, like a mass reporting, and it's not only with one person. It's like you hire someone, you give them $20,000 or whatever, and then this person just does crazy amount of spams. This is a fake account. This is da da da, and then they know we don't have any organization or we don't get money from anyone, but they do because this has been the tactic of the IRGC for many years.
That's crazy. So what can people do? So this has been crazy. So let's take it to a positive note. What can people do today
Yeah.
to get involved and be a voice for the Iranian people, whether they're in the diaspora, whether they're non-Iranians? What can people do today, Mandana, in order to take us to help out with the cause and hopefully lead to a successful tear down of the mullah wall? Like, you know how President Reagan said, tear down
Mhm.
we're going to tear down this mullah wall or this mullah curtain, as I call it.
Yeah. See, the regime hasn't been in such a weak point in their existence of 47 years, right? And I'm sure whoever is watching this interview, you know a lot of Iranians around you that somehow they were connected to the IRGC or they are the supporters of IRGC. Shame them, report them. talk to your official governments. If you know there is a gathering of people like me who are in support of Iranians people, who are support of Reza Shah Pahlavi, because he's the only choice. He's the only one that we all are calling his name. Go to those rallies. And if you cannot go to the rallies, if you see a video that there are 1,000 Iranians in diaspora, they are talking in German or English or France or whatever language they're speaking, share those videos and try to ask questions. Why people like me or thousands like me are kept silent? Why did I have to leave India? Why did we have to leave our home country? Why? Ask those questions. And do not get into the narrative that, oh, America and Israel are attacking Iran. No, America and Israel, they attack the IRGC, the Islamic Republic. They did not attack Iranians. People like my own family, what they're afraid of, if this war is not going to end by the regime is removed. Because if they stay back, as they are showing it already, every single day we wake up to the news of 4 executions, 5 executions, a young man, a young girl. If this regime is not going to go, Iranians, they're not going to happen. Yes, we will take our country back. Iranians, they had it enough. There is no reconciliation with this regime. There is no like, now let's talk. No, you cannot negotiate with a regime who mass murder its own people. And if you think as American or Canadian or British or whoever you are, if you think IRGC is not going to reach your doorstep, please look around you. Please look at all the terrorist attacks that's happening again and again around the world and ask the question, where do they bring their money from? Where these terrorist groups they make their money from? And today we are so blessed and we are lucky. A lot of information, true information, if you really want to look into it, you can actually find a track of bank records and things like that. So be smart and have humanity within you to ask yourself, why people like me, like yourself as well, we have left our life, we have risked our life and talking about Iran,
Hmm. Very
and
true.
ask those questions.
Very true. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on. It really
Of
felt like
course.
I hope I was a great host, and I'd love to have you on again.
Of
If you
course.
if you ever want to share anything, contact me right away. I will make an
Mhm.
interview happen with the time
Please.
zones we're in. You have a friend in me, you have a supporter, and I hope I was a great host.
Please.
And just want to let you know from my co-hosts on Space and what I'm building with the Iranian movement online and hopefully
Well,
on the ground in Canada with what I can. I just want you to know we love you. Our
thank
heart
you.
is with you, and we know that you cannot do this alone. And this is bigger
Thank you.
than myself. It's bigger than you, and it's going to take
Yeah,
all of us doing something together. So I really want to thank you for coming on. I want you to know you have
definitely.
our support, and we love to have you come to our spaces and
Mhm.
to educate people, like not just myself, but like my co-hosts among maybe they can learn something that they didn't know before and whatnot. So Mandana, where can people connect with you? Please say everything that you have so people can get on it, because this
Thank
was a
you.
conversation that had to happen for Iranians.
Thank you. So my Instagram is at Mandana Karimi. I'm active on X as well. It's at Manize. That's my account. I have a YouTube channel which we just opened because the other one was completely gone, which is again on Mandana Karimi, and Charity Fund, which I'm working with them closely on the donation that we are gathering, and it's a platform that I'm gonna be going live from Monday, tomorrow. So please watch my Instagram stories and posts that I'm doing about my lives, because the lives that we are doing, I'm bringing a lot of people who have helped me on behind the doors. You know, the lawyers that I work with, the people on the ground, some of them we're not showing their face because of a security reason. But there are a lot of people who have been helping me. And I'm also bringing some of my foreign friends who have been the voice of Iranians to kind of create a society and create a space for all of us who kind of feels like the world hasn't been kind to us. So please join the space. Please come and see the live. And believe me, I'm saying this with all my heart. The donation, even if it's $5 or $1, is helping us in a massive ways that you can't even imagine. Because what Iranians outside Iran and inside Iran are going through right now, it's way bigger than what has happened in Gaza. And if you have a selective activities and activism for just a race because you hate so and so government, please put that aside, because any human lives matters. Today it could be Iranian, tomorrow it could be Americans or Canadian. And we all have to stand together. It doesn't matter what and where you're from.
Amazing. Well, that was an amazing way to end it. And guys, if you like what I do, please follow me, Drew of the Drew Experience, because when you come on my show, it's an experience of a conversation. My handles are the same everywhere. Give me a follow, and hopefully, Mandana, I'd love to have you on again.
Thank you
And
so much.
and I'm gonna try to have on more Iranian activists. I really want to thank you personally because
Of course.
and some people, like, when they come on, they want to say, okay, who's this guy I had on? And this is for Iranians. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about
Yeah.
it's about me living up to my father's legacy to be that lion of Mahmoudiyeh, as I like to call myself. So I hope I was a great host.
No, you were amazing. Thank you so much. And as I said to you, is that for me, it doesn't matter how big or small the platform is and who the person is. I just appreciate people who are showing interest to talk about Iran, to amplify the voice, to hear to our stories, and to hear the pain that we are going through. So thank you so much for having me. And you were a great host. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys, make sure to like, share,
Thank you.
subscribe. Drew Experience back with more soon.